Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Wealthy Brain. Today we're going to be talking about the Raoul Pal and his views on Bitcoin. CEO and co-founder, Real Vision Group and global macro investor. Raoul Pal leads Real Vision to provide unparalleled access to the very best insights and analysis from the brightest financial minds. He prides himself on being a business cycle economist, investment strategist, and economic historian. Influential investor, Raoul Pal says the best trade he's ever found on Bitcoin, which he's described as a call option on the future and the world's most pristine reserve asset. Powell says his price prediction for the Bitcoin relies on the stock to flow model among other valuation modeling methods. He added it's the same way that gold works, diamond works, things like that work, rare assets, and it becomes relatively predictable. That predictability would suggest that we might get somewhere like 1 million by 2025 or 2016 or 2026. Then we can use the logarithmic scale and look at the price of Bitcoin on the logarithmic scale. It kind of gives you the same price predictions. Then the other way of looking at it is looking at the total amounts of above ground supplies of gold and its price, and then do the same for Bitcoin, and you get something similar. So there's a number of things that suggest that, but in a more sensible level, $1 million is going up 50-fold from here. Bitcoin is currently worth 300 billion in market cap. That's about gold's market cap. That's not unreasonable. In a recent interview on Yahoo Finance, Powell said that the central bank's move toward digital currencies is literally the biggest story in his career. Investors like Powell don't want to compete against central banks, but aim to create a digital world. Powell said, underscoring that despite big reservations, policymakers don't appear to want to ban crypto completely. They understand the technology is out of the bottle. The genie is out of the bottle, the investors said. There's nothing you can do about it anyway. Despite the cryptocurrency's notorious head-spinning volatility and growing association with scams, Powell declared flatly that Bitcoin and crypto is here to stay. Powell, a Goldman Sachs alum, previously co-managed GLG's global macro fund, one of the world's largest. Since retiring back in 2004, he now authors a research letter, The Global Macro Investor GMI, which is read by some of the most influential hedge funds, asset managers, and sovereign wealth funds. He's also the founder of Real Vision Television, an online subscription media company specializing in long-term and long-form investor interviews, where he recently shared a 35-minute video detailing his crypto thesis. Suddenly, it's a real asset class. Powell has stated repeatedly that Bitcoin's price could get up to $1 million, becoming a 10 trillion asset class and possibly surpassing the gold market. In the last year, Bitcoin's price has surged more than 47% to the last trade near $13,801. With a market cap of around 240 billion, Bitcoin is approximately the size of a large mid-cap S&P stock, Powell pointed out. As it moves to 500 billion or 1 trillion, suddenly it's a real asset class and sucks in more money. One of the drivers will be the wall of institutional money coming. It becomes a Soros-style reflexive loop where we've got the macro story backing it up, said Powell, referring to George Soros. The speculative investor once credited with breaking the Bank of England in a bet against the British pound. We've got the flow of funds backing it up. Then we've got the move, which the central banks are driving. It's literally the biggest story I've ever seen. What it means is more printing of currency. That's not just the US. It's basically every single country on earth is doing the same thing. Raoul Pal, investor. According to Pal, the macro story supporting his thesis is that the economy is about to enter a despair phase, which is part of his view that recessions unfold in three distinct phases that culminates in a prolonged period of insolvency. Growth, he said, is likely to remain negative for longer than people expect, and that's going to mean that kind of corporate cash flows, household cash flows are quite impaired. And there's going to be a rise of insolvencies, bankruptcies, and that kind of thing. Against a backdrop of what Powell calls a debt patch, the lacking fiscal stimulus in the US and Europe, economic data rolling over in Europe, and a rise in the coronavirus cases, the only answer we have is either more monetary or more fiscal stimulus. The monetary side's challenge is moving to negative rates. On the fiscal side, it means governments will have to launch large fiscal programs that the central bank will try and monetize in order to cap bond yields. What it means is more printing of currency. That's not just the US, it's basically every single country on Earth is doing the same thing, Powell speculated. And that's driving down the relative value of fiat currency overall. It's not just a dollar story, or a euro story, or a pound story, it's a whole lot, and that's driving higher gold, but particularly crypto, he added. Incredible asset. As for these central banks moving toward digital currencies, one of the potential drawbacks of a scenario where depositors have a direct relationship with a central bank could be the loss of certain freedoms. That creates a whole bunch of other issues in terms of what control do they have over you if your direct banking relationship is with a central bank, he asked. Sure, they can give you a fiscal stimulus directly, but they could also tax you or give you negative interest rates. Or they could give you a negative or me a positive one. He further explained, we don't know what the world that is. Bitcoin gives us an option out of that, he added. To be sure, Powell argued that a future where central banks issue digital currencies makes Bitcoin a legitimate part of the system. What it does is revolutionize the global financial system by creating the Internet of Money, where the various systems will connect and speak with each other, like Apple's iOS and Google Android. That connection of all the systems is coming, and the central bank currency route is going to be the platform by which they can all connect in terms of ease of use and on-off ramps into our normal lives. In Powell's view, Bitcoin plays a role as the world's most pristine reserve asset for individuals, corporations, and pension funds. It's an incredible asset. It's the only one with a limited supply with growing demand. It's an extraordinary thing, he said. Powell says efforts to launch a Bitcoin exchange traded fund will be key for Bitcoin's growth moving forward, calling it the most attractive way for institutions to gain exposure to the leading cryptocurrency. This is all for today, folks. If you enjoyed this video, then leave a like, and if you are new, then don't forget to subscribe. See you till the next video, and thank you for watching.